Okay, so this is the solution for the major exam 02, spring 2018. So as I told you here, the first thing you need to go through all the different interfaces. Okay, the most important thing to observe is that we have an interface sensor, and that all the other sensors, the extent sensor. This is something very important that we are going to use later on. Okay, class GPS, the interface database, and so on. And then we have the implementation of the different sensors, like temperature sensor. It implements the interface sensor. The pressure sensor implements the interface pressure, and so on. Okay. As you can see here, I have mentioned that it is really important to look at the measurement IMPL class. Why? So let's look at this one. What does it have? It has a class date, an attribute date, sensors, city name, and GPS. Now, if you look at the file where we store the information, okay, it contains the same thing. So when you look at the file and you look at the measurement, you understand that this part is going to be stored here, and city name is going to be stored in city name. Okay, these two float or double values will be stored in GPS location. And then we have all these four values. What are they? So this is temperature value, this is humidity value, pressure, and distance. But here we don't have temperature object or humidity object. We have one set that contains all the sensors. So I will expect that these values will be stored here. لأنه sensor is generic. It can be temperature, it can be humidity, it can be pressure, it can be anything. So I can create an object, مثلا temperature, and then I add it to the sensor set. Okay? So basically we have a structure like this. Okay, so I'm going to come to this structure later on after introducing database. But it's very important to understand that here, and this is what I mentioned to you, understand how sensor data are stored in the measurement object. Okay, because what you need to do, you need to load the information from the file and put it inside one measurement object, and then add this measurement object into the database. What is this database? It's already defined here. It's the same database that we defined before. Okay, and it contains a set of T elements, where T are measurement. So in the class IoT app, what do we declare? We declare a database of measurement. So inside database we have set, and the set contains a set of measurement. Every measurement has a date, has a city name, has a GPS, and has a set of sensors. This is very important to understand, and we have a structure like this. So what you see here in yellow, this is the IoT app. I can write here IoT app. And inside IoT app, we have the attribute DB, which represent database measurement. صح ولا؟ Okay, we have this one. Okay, so and inside database of measurement, what do we have? We have a set of measurement. هذا اللي نحتاجه الآن. So this is what we need. The set of measurement, we are going to use them to store the elements one by one. Every time I read a line from the file, I will add it to this set. And then inside the set of measurement, of course, we have measurement 1, measurement 2, measurement 3, all the measurements that we are going to read from the file. واضحة الفكرة الآن ولا؟ Okay. هذا هو الآن الأساس الجنوالي. Our objective is to read from the file and put all the elements inside this set. And you remember that in the previous major exam, when we did database IMPL, we already have something called the store element that it allows to add an element into the set. سويناها من قبل. ولا مباشرة you can also access the element through the db get db. We have get db, it give you access to the database itself, so you can add it in the set directly if you want. So now we have all the ingredients to start working on the IoT app. So the first question here is actually write the method load data that reads all the data from the specified from the file specified by the file name. Okay, and stores them in the database of measurement object DB, which is an attribute of the class IoT app. You must also add the cities in the city set. واضح الفكرة الآن؟ We're going to read from the file and put inside the we'll put inside the cities. Okay, so let's do this. So basically the first part, that is parsing the file, we already did in the project. There is nothing difficult, just copy it from any place and paste it here. So I'm going now to just take the first part and then not to lose too much time. So I'm going to take until the parsing until here. Okay, so look at this. We load from file, we create a scanner, and then for every line, we read line by line, and then we split using the semicolon. Okay, and then city name is the first one, and then we take latitude and longitude. Now I can create actually GPS object here equal new GPS IMPL, and I can put the lat and LNG. واضح? Okay, then I read the temperature value, the unit of the temperature. I create a temperature object. I can use the factory if I want. You can use also new temperature. I'm not very specific here. Okay, so here I use the factory for temperature, humidity, pressure, and distance. And finally, we extract the day, the month, and the year. Okay, we have to split with respect to the value to the slash here. So now we have everything. We have parsed the file, and we are ready to put this information into the database. So what do we need to do here? The first thing, I need to add, create a new measurement. I need to create a new measurement object. صح ولا لا? And second, store the measurement object in the database. So this is what I need to do. Two things. So to create a new measurement object, so I'm going to make measurement M equal a new measurement IMPL. So what is the constructor here? Measurement IMPL. So we have date, city name, GPS, and sensors. So I'm going to add the date. So let me put here a new date D equal new date, day, month, and year. So this is date, and then city name. This is something that we have read before. Okay, and then GPS. Okay, I have already GPS here. And finally, I need to read the set of sensors. And here I have seen so many different things, but it's very simple. I need to create a set, then I will add all the different sensors inside the set. So I will create a set of sensors. Let me call it sensors equal new set of sensor, or tree set here.
Doctor, shouldn't I make declare the sensor outside the while loop?
No, because here we come back to this figure. Every measurement has a date, city name, a GPS location, and then inside we have a set of sensors. So the set of sensors will contain one temperature value, one humidity value, one distance value, and one pressure value. So now I have read all these different values. Look, now I have a value for temperature, I have a value for humidity, I have a value for pressure, and I have a value for distance. What I should do for them? I need to add them into this set. Voila. So I create now, it is now empty. Sahula, it's empty now. And then I will add sensors dot add, and I will add the temperature. Okay, and then I will do sensors that this is composition that we did so many times, and then humidity, and then sensors dot add pressure, and then sensors dot add distance. So now I have put inside this object all the different sensors that I have read from the file, and then I will add it to the constructor because the constructor expects to have a set of sensors. So now I am sure that this measurement object has all the information that are contained into one line here. شوف الآن في موجود فيه الدate اللي هي هذه. It has the city name, which is this one. It has an object GPS, which is this one. And it has an array, or it has a set, array list, okay, which contains one temperature value, one humidity value, one pressure value, and one distance value. Objects, of course, not value. It contains an object because an object contains value and unit, as you already know. So now the next thing, the last thing that we have to do here, we need to store the measurement into the database. We already have a database here, DB. Okay, so I'm going to call DB dot, I can do store elements measurement. Or if you want, you can do DB dot get DB, that is the set inside the database, dot add, and you can do measurement. Oh, they're okay. They do the same thing. Okay, so I prefer the first one because we already have a method that does this for us. And sorry? Yes, we have to add the cities. Cities dot add and city name. And of course, even if we add so many times, because it is a set, it's going to only to keep one occurrence for every city name, because it's going to remove the duplicates. So why we need the cities here? To know what are the cities available in the file. And that's all. Is it difficult, this one?
No.
No.
Why there is casting?
Where do you see the casting? Because here I use the factory, and factory returns a sensor. You may use new temperature or new humidity, MPL, if you want. But here in my case, I didn't ask for that. But in my case, I have used a factory, and you can see that the factory, it returns a sensor.
Doctor, if I used it, can I get a bonus?
Sorry?
If I use the factory, do I get a bonus?
No, yeah, I didn't request this.
Okay.
Okay. This is now the question about load data. Okay, this question was almost succeeded. Yeah, let me say that most of the students get some grades on this. But the problem starts from here. Problem starts from here. All the question is very straightforward. Now, what we need to do here?
Use iterator to iterate each value of the situation.
Yes, we have a database that contains all the values that come from the file. سهلة. We want just to filter them. We want to filter by the date and by the city. So we keep only those that are between two dates and that belongs to a certain city. Voila. So we're going to do some if conditions to check whether a measurement satisfies the condition. If the measurement satisfies the condition, we consider this into the filtered set. If it does not satisfy the condition, we does not consider it into the set. But the problem here is that I want to make the life of the students easier, and I provide this method here to tell you whether a date is contained between two others. But unfortunately, most of the students, they did this method in the wrong way on their own, and they didn't know how to use it. So what does it do, this method? It returns a Boolean variable and takes three parameters, D, D1, and D2. If D is between D1 and D2, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. And here I consider two situations. The first case where D1 is greater than D2, or D1 is smaller than D2. لأنك الآن مثلا we have different situations. Look at this. You have D, D1 and D2. Let's assume that مثلا D1 تساوي 1/2018 1/2018 and this one is 1/02/2018. So what is bigger? Here D2 is bigger.
Yeah.
واضح? So we are in this case. If D1 is smaller than D2. واضح ولا؟ Then this is D. Okay, let's check if D is between D1 and D2. D هي 5/1/2018 5/1/2018. It is greater than D1 and smaller than D2. So it is between. So here we are going to return true. So let's look at this. If D is greater than D1, true, and D is smaller than D2, true, in this case we return true. Now we can have another situation where D1, look now I'm going to invert D2 and D1, I will invert them. So D1 becomes 1/2/2018 and D2 becomes 1/1/2018. So D1 is greater than D2, okay, because of the month here is greater. And still D is between D1 and D2. So now I take the second case. If D1 is greater than D2, which is this case, I'm going to check D is smaller than D1, it's true, and D is greater than D2, it's true, so we return true. All the other cases, we return false. So this is the within date interval method. It takes a date D, D1, D2 interval, and tells you whether it is inside or outside. واضح ولا؟ الهدف أنه it helps you to make the condition to filtering over the dates. You can use them into the filter by city and date to discard every measurement that is not within the interval D1 and D2. So now let's go to the method. It returns the set of measurement for a city specified by the city name and in the range of D1, D2. وقلنا هنا D1 can be greater or smaller than D2 because it's already taken in the in the method. And then if the city name is equal to all, we are going only to filter by date. Now we're going to take everything. So let's go step by step now. Let's make it step by step. So this is our method. Filter by date and city. So what we want to do here? Let's write. The most important thing is that you have to find what are the steps I need to follow to find the solution. But before you start working, some students start with iterator, some students don't know with where to start, What I need to do, no, I don't see it. For every measurement, I will write in English. For every measurement, M in the database, what I will do? Check if the city of M is equal to the city name parameter. صح ولا لا? And then check if the date of measurement M is inside the interval D1 and D2. صح ولا لا? In this case, add M to the filtered set. And finally, return the filtered set. Maybe the first step that I have to do is to initialize an empty filtered set. Initialize a filtered empty set of measurement. And then for every measurement in the database, I will check condition 1, check condition 2. If both conditions are satisfied, add them into the filtered set. واضح هذا steps ولا لا? So this is what we want to do. الآن we start to do the coding. Okay, so how to initialize a filtered now? What we should do here? We're going to return a set of measurement. So I need to create a set of measurement. Okay, let me call it filtered measurement equal new tree set of measurement. That's it. It's empty. في الأخير we're going to do return after we put the values that we want. واضح ولا لا؟ This is logical. This is what we want to do. This is what I want the students to think in the exam. Okay? Is to find these logical steps. And then you can start coding. So now, how to do for every measurement?
Iterator.
We can do an iterator, we can do a for loop. Now we have a set, we have two options. Either we can do an iterator or we can do a for loop. So for using a for loop, we can do for every measurement M inside in db dot get db. واضح? So here or we can do also, we can do something like iterator of measurement id equal db dot get db dot iterator. وبعدين نسوي while it dot has next, so we go through all the elements and we do the process. Okay, we can do here measurement m equal it dot next نفس الشيء. Okay, let me do it with for loop. The result will be the same in any case. I didn't specify particular way. So here I will go through all the elements one by one. Then for every element M or for every measurement M, I need to check. So let me make a first condition, city condition. What is the city condition here?
Equal city name.
What is equal? So I will check that the city name of the measurement is equal to the city name in the parameter. So M dot get city name dot equal ignore case city name. صح ولا؟ This is the first condition. What is the second condition? About the date. نفس الشيء. Boolean. Date condition. I will check whether the date of the measurement is within D1 and D2. How to do that?
Using the method of that.
استعمل الميثود هذه. Okay. I can call this method. I give first the date of the measurement. And then I put D1 of the parameter and D2 of the parameter. It's going to return true or false.
Doctor?
I can combine the two conditions in one.
Yes, in principle we combine, but just I want to make them stepwise, you know, to make them very clear and very easy to understand. Okay? Doing that, if city condition is satisfied and date condition is satisfied, what to do here?
Add.
Filtered measurement dot add. So now this measurement is for this city and for these two between these two dates. I will add it to the filtered, and finally we return.
Shouldn't I add all next to city name
Mhm.
in the city condition?
Where
In the city condition, should I add?
I told you all. أنا الآن سوينا for a city name. But here there is a risk. I can put a city name that is not inside the cities in the file. صح ولا؟ Okay, so in this case we have to raise an exception. Okay, so this one applies for what? It applies if the cities dot contains city name. اوكي اذا كان السيتي نيم اللي نبحث عليها موجوده في السيتيز والله من فعلا مش مهم. There is something. IoT app. Okay, so here, okay, I'm going to open here a bracket and close it here. So now all of this is correct when if cities that contains name contains city name is correct. صح ولا لا؟
دكتور
نعم.
مو بالسطر 108 اصلا هي بتعطيني فولس.
This one?
ايوه اذا يعني السيتي مو موجوده بالست او شو اسمه.
Yeah, I should not execute in this case. Why I should go through all the elements and check?
اوكي.
Okay, don't want to waste time.
دكتور مش ممكن جنب السيتي نيم inside equals regular case مثلا
ايش
اكتب all
لا لا
المشكلة خلاص.
الأولى مش نجيبها الآن. الآن سوينا شيء that is for an existing city name. Now, all is a special case because I don't have a city name that has the name all. Okay, so what I should do if city name dot equal ignore case all هذا الوقت نسوي لها شيء خاص بها. Else I will check whether the city name exists. So what's the difference between all and particular city name is that with all we don't have a filtering over the city. So the condition on the city will not exist. So what I can do, I can just take all of this, put it here, and just remove the condition on the city. صح ولا لا؟ لأنه it's going to take all the cities and then I don't need this condition at all. I will filter just based on the date condition. Okay, that's the difference between all and using a city name. Okay, so here it says if city name is equal to all, and a city name parameter equal to all, it returns all measurements for all cities in the range D1 and D2. Is it clear? Okay. Okay. So now the next question is about the comparator. Write the class measurement temperature comparator that compares between two measurement objects. So here we have another class, public class. What it should do, this class? Implements comparator of measure. It's going to compare between two measurements. Okay, so I'm going to override the method. Okay, and here let me call this M1 and these two M2. So basically what I have to do here, it says that if M1 is greater than M2, if the temperature, we're going to compare the temperature. Okay, so what we are going to do here, let me write it. If temperature of M1 is greater than temperature of M2, return 1. Okay, and then if the temperature of M1 is smaller than the temperature of M2, return -1. And finally, return 0. ممتاز. Okay, so now the problem, I want to write this. Okay, so I'm going to make if M1 dot, what I can find the temperature? Sensors, inside the sensors. If I make dot get sensors, I don't have something get I or, you know, or get temperature, so this is a set. What's the only option to do? Go through all the elements. Okay, how can I identify whether this is a temperature or humidity or pressure? Using instance of. Okay, this is the logical way to think. And logically, you want to do something like this, but you will find an obstacle. You cannot move forward. Okay, so it's not. I'm going to make something like, I saw so many solutions, you know. But the correct way to do it is find temperature of M1, find temperature of M2. So here in the set of sensors, and here in the set of sensors of M2, in the set, and here of M1. So we can use an iterator, we can use a for loop. Let me make a for loop for every sensor S inside where? M1 dot get sensors. So how to know that it is a temperature sensor? Here we have polymorphism. We're going to use instance of if S instance of temperature Okay, and this is why we have an empty class temperature is. We want to use it for this purpose to identify that we have a temperature object. Okay. So what I will do here, if s instance of temperature. So now I'm going to get the value. So I can do s dot get value, and I need to put it somewhere. So let me create double t1 equal 0 and double t2. Okay, I will do for t1 now. I can do t1 equal s dot get value. So now I get the temperature, and I can do the same for t2. Sahula. So it's possible, we can imagine that in some cases maybe sensors here will not have a temperature. So if I want to do something safe, I can initialize to a value that cannot exist. And then if t1 equal minus 999, okay, I can throw new illegal argument exception, no temperature was found. Now for the sensors, we can imagine that some sensors may not have temperature. It's not the case in our case, but in the general case it's possible. Okay, so we can do the following, but this is optional, just to have some kind of additional safety on the values. Okay, if we don't change the value inside the for loop, and then it becomes very easy. Now if t1 is greater than t2, what to do? Return 1. If t1 smaller than t2, return minus 1, and finally return. واضح? Is it clear? Okay. So we reached the end of the lecture, but let me just show you the solutions for the last question. Okay, so this is now the solution of the last question here. We want max temperature for a certain city between two dates. So the first thing to do is to filter out, okay, to filter out the set of measurements by applying filter by date and city. And here I put city name, dmin, and dmax. So here mset will contain what? All the measurements for a specific city between two dates. صح ولا لا? Because it's the same method that we did here. We're going to call the method filter by date and city. Then when we get this, what we want to find the maximum temperature. Okay, so how to find now? Instead of going through all the values, remember that we have made a comparator that is called measurement temperature comparator. Is going to organize the temperature according the measurement according to their temperature. So here I'm going to call collections.max on the filtered set, and I will apply measurement temperature comparator. Voila. What does it return? It returns the measurement that contains the highest temperature. By definition. And from this measurement M, in the same way I did in the comparator, I can extract the value of the temperature that is the highest and then return it. Okay, so that is all for this major exam. It's very important, so try to review it again, and you will have this video for more explanation. Okay.